So today I'm going to talk about Hell's Bells. This is a 1929 animated short directed by Ub Iwerks for the Walt Disney Studio, or considered, as it's called in the title card, a Walt Disney comic. This is considered by reviews I found, and by a lot of people, to be sort of the kind of follow-up or the successor to Skeleton Dance. I actually found reviews from 1929 that say that, and I can see why they say that. Is the fourth Silly Symphony overall. Is there's been, I guess, yeah, it's fourth Silly Symphony overall, and their fourth film released in 1929, and it sort of shows their fifth is The Merry Dwarfs, which we'll talk about around Christmas time. But it's sort of different than the Skeleton Dance, and I think the Skeleton Dance, why that worked is it has a spookiness to it. It's sort of like watching an abandoned house video on YouTube, and then skeletons start dancing, and that would freak you the fuck out. And there's a certain part of horror is the idea of not knowing. That's the most, especially now, not understanding something, not be able to define something. That's scary and spooky. And Skeleton Dance felt very weird and strange, and like, where did you come up with this? This is just like, this just takes place in hell. That's literally, the whole short is in hell. Like, not like, you know, how you feel about the town you grew up in. Literally, this is actually takes place in hell. You see a lot of demons walking around. You see the devil now, or Satan. Now, I want to bring this up, and I think people are going to start laughing, but Walt Disney is the credited voice of Satan in this. So yes, there is a cartoon where Walt Disney literally plays Satan. This isn't a joke. In 1929, Walt Disney was actually the devil. He also voiced Cerebus, but that's less funny. And it's also funny that Ub Iwerks is the only one to get his boss to literally voice the devil and then give him a spanking and kill him and throw him in fire. Ub, you were working on a way. I mean, he quit. I think he quit before 1930. He was really going for it. I appreciate nobody's fucked over their boss in animation in more time, quicker than Ub Iwerks. I love it, dude. This film has no plot. It's basically like watching the animators go off. The animators, and I came up with a better list this time. Ub, who also directed, Les Clark, Wilford Jackson, who directed a lot of the classic Disney films and was one of the 9 old men, co-directed Cinderella and Snow White, and Mary Tebb was the ink artist. I don't know what that means, but good for her. I mean, this is basically like a lot of the Silly Symphonies is, and I think a Skeleton Dance was a hit and really cool. Everyone was like, hey, just go off. You're really having a lot of fun here. This is sort of like shorts of the time. They're like, they didn't really have a script. They're like, who has a gag? Who wants to do this? How does the flow go? They weren't working on it in one thing I actually like about animated shorts is like you can sort of kind of vibe out with them, which I think is like something that like not a lot of animation or storytelling now, like I'm saying, is like everything needs a logic to it. Everything needs a reason. Like, how can you have a plot hole? Things are supposed to make sense. And this doesn't really care about it. The devil's playing music on bone instruments is really cool. The 3-headed dog looks a little like Mickey Mouse in some shots. And the devil, there's a bunch of little devils who are doing dances, and there's one that gets hit on the wall that's spiky and becomes this weird, like, to me looks like a German 1920s, like weird German, like Bauhausy kind of drawing, which I thought was really odd and interesting. I'm sure that's where we'll get to the 1929 reviews called this film pretentious. I think that was really cool. I think it was an interesting, weird design choice. It makes no sense, but this is a thing in hell, and you don't know what hell's like unless you do. I sort of like the fun of this, the weirdness of it. This would be a good one to play after the Skeleton Dance, or if you're watching some horror stuff. I don't know if it would stick out at you as much as Skeleton. Like, everyone remembers Skeleton Dance. It's like one of the biggest animated shorts of all time. But in this, it's like, okay, you watch these devils play around, and then one of them doesn't want to get eaten by Satan, and then Satan gets got, and that's about the whole thing. Satan drinks warm milk, which I don't understand. Like, is he taking a nap? What was that about? I don't understand. But some of the reviews of this, these are amazing reviews from 1929. Here's from the Film Daily. I don't know what that is. Few laughs. Hell's Bells is evidently a follow-up on the success of the Skeleton Dance, but it does not approach the offerings and laugh possibilities. I mean, I agree with that. It is pretentious as cartoons go, but I like that about it. Full of fire and brimstone with the sort of Jack and Beanstalk finish that is the best thing in it. Variety says moving cartoon pictures in Hades as the weirdest of places with its inhabitants of odd animal forms, all comedy of ghost story types, such as one musician using the backbone of hips of a human as his cello. Lots of laughs with unnatural comic effects as cartoons can create a peach filter. Oh man, it's interesting. I think this is a fun riff. It's an interesting cartoon, but really not Skeleton Dance. I think a lot of these silly symphonies, one, they're making like 4 or 5 a year. I think the ingenuity in the, like most of like the early Mickey Mouses, we talk about the first 4, but we don't talk about the ones after. It feels like they had all, like how you develop anything, like all your passions in the beginning, and then it becomes a job. And this really much feels like Silly Symphonies and Walt Disney and all that stuff became a job for him. I think that's sort of like, you can sort of tell in this that that's what happened. And I think it's sort of unfortunate. But you know, it is a lot of fun. I did have fun with it, but it isn't the most memorable. I think a lot of these are just like watching animators riff and have fun with it, and I think they did. But it just like, just being in hell doesn't feel as scary because all of it sucks. I wish they had understood that what worked about Skeleton Dance is that it was this random like spooky place, and this is like, will scare you even more in hell, and you're like, that's not really, I don't know. But it was a fun watching Ub and them riff and have fun with it and try to figure out kind of how to fill the time of an animated short. But it's not necessarily as entertaining or as innovative or anything like that. But it does play well with Skeleton Dance. Or if you're doing like a horror movie thing and you want to have like something in between, it would play well for that. But I don't think it stands out as much as some of the more notable ones. I think it's a very good Silly Symphony. I like it more than the Terrible Troubadour and maybe even Springtime, really. But I don't think it necessarily achieves that classic level of anything. But it was a fun, creepy little Halloween short that's probably underappreciated by the Disney Corporation and is presently in the public domain. But it was at least a fun time and a spooky Halloween horror short in hell.